Hello, Will and Catherine here. We went on a Caribbean fly cruise on Britannia with P&O Cruises. This video is for those wanting to know about the process for getting to the ship and what the embarkation and disembarkation process was like. I have separate videos for life on board and for the ports we visited. We took the train to Gatwick Airport from our hometown of Aberdeen. It was a cold and frosty morning when we set off, and we were so looking forward to some tropical warmth. We changed at Cardiff and Reading and got to Gatwick Airport mid-afternoon on the day before the flight. The train station is in the South Terminal at Gatwick, so we needed to take the shuttle to get to the North Terminal. The shuttle is free and runs 24 hours a day. We stayed overnight at the Premier Inn, which was just across the road from the North Terminal departures, which was where we checked in 3¼ hours before our scheduled departure of 11:05 for our flight to Barbados. The check-in process was very efficient, and we didn't have to queue, and I didn't have time to get my camera out. We flew on a TUI Airways Boeing 787 Dreamliner and had reserved our seats at £45 each. We had the typical long-haul entertainment facility with refreshments and meals included. There was a slight delay in departure because of a problem with a fuel rig, and the flight time was also longer than the scheduled 8 hours and 40 minutes because of a strong headwind. We didn't have to collect our bags at the airport. We came down the steps and onto the transfer buses to the port. We landed at 17:10, the bus set off at 17:40, and we arrived at the port at 18:15. Again, the check-in process was very efficient. We didn't have to queue, so again, I didn't have time to get my camera out. Then, after going through security, we were on board at about 18:30 and enjoying our first view of the impressive atrium. Our cabin was ready, and we climbed the stairs to deck 11 to pick up our cruise cards, which were outside our cabin door. Then we went to enjoy the welcome party at the Lido pool on deck 16 while we waited for our bags, which were delivered at 20:45. Our cabin was a balcony cabin at the aft, and I have a separate video for the cabin review. The disembarkation process started with packing during the afternoon because we were told that the bags had to be outside our cabin by 6 p.m. and we had to vacate the cabin by 8:30 a.m. When we vacated the cabin on the morning of disembarkation, we attended immigration at the Live Lounge on deck 7. A nice surprise was being served by some of the headliners' theatre company, even though they had performed 2 shows the previous night. Hannah, one of the dancers, registered my cruise card, and one of the female singers directed me to an available immigration officer. Then 2 of the male dancers handed out immigration completed cards as we left the Live Lounge. After breakfast, we read in the library, went to lunch in the buffet, and were allocated the Crystal Room, as the place to gather for being escorted to our buses. At 2:30 p.m, we were led down to the gangway on deck 4 from the Crystal Room on deck 7, and once we got onto the quay, we were directed along the quay to where the buses were waiting. The journey to the airport was longer because of the weekend traffic, and we flew back to Gatwick, arriving at 6 a.m. the following morning. Well done, P&O Cruises. 10 out of 10 for the efficiency of the embarkation and disembarkation process.